Hey, yo, everybody. How are you today? It's crazy out there, right? Okay, let's do some math, shall we? Um, so we're doing some elementary lessons, but our goal is not to make it about elementary math. We're eventually leading toward algebra, obviously, right? And other things. But it isn't to say that these things can't be transmitted to younger and younger students, or just an understanding of what's going on. So we talked about our digits, we talked about our numeration a little bit. Oh, I don't know if I uploaded that. Um, and I want to talk today about adding and subtracting. Okay? So something that needs to be stated and said about mathematics, and I don't care if you're 7 years old or if you're, an adult with a 7-year-old or a teenager, right? There's a level of memorization that needs to happen. We all memorize our words because we have to communicate with people. We all memorize what sight words look like because we want to be able to read. But for some reason, people think that math vocabulary or mathematical facts just that you don't have to. You either get it or you don't, and that's complete hogwash. There's a reason why we have there's times tables, that there are flashcards, that it makes it easier. It makes it infinitely easier, and there is an absolute level of memorization. It's certainly up to tens, right? Because we need that to happen quickly for us. If worst comes to worst, you can always consult the times table. Of course, most people these days just go right to a calculator. I can't stop you. I'm going to turn this off. I thought it would be helpful, but it's not. Okay, I'm in yet another room because I'm trying to find my quiet, happy place in the midst of the storm. Okay, so counting. Let's talk about adding. Okay, so let's talk rudimentary adding, and then we're going to talk about the number line. We're going to get to the number line of why that's important. Okay, and why it was honestly like kind of groundbreaking. In my spare time, I've been reading books about infinity because it's awesome, but so my brain is there a little bit. I'm sorry, my brain is like, woo! Also, massive problem. Phi is 1.618. I don't know, like I was just so excited that I thought it was 1.41, but it's 1.618. Blah, 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 blah. That's why, I was like, the other day when I couldn't remember it, and it was, of course, a wonderful colleague that was like, Becca, it's 1.61. And I was like, all right. We don't want that kind of growth. Okay. All right. Let's get to it. Oh, shoot. We're already 3 minutes in. I'm babbling. So if I have 3, right? And I want to add 5 more. Well, I batch these things together, right? And I see that I have 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then I go to my table of what the symbols mean, and I come up with this symbol, right? And I said, and then now as people, and this is Robert Reed, I believe, is the guy who wrote a book on the symbology of math and the 60s. And then we've all, or was it Record? Robert Record? Spelled like this. I think? I'm gonna have to check. Anyway, so, I need my wipes. So the symbols are, in terms of mathematics, relatively new. But we would say we're combining 3 and 5, and what we get is 8. It's this different symbol, right? So the symbol we use is this symbol. And that is that. Okay? So these symbols you need to memorize them. And again, I don't care if you're in elementary school or you're older. What bothers me is that it's not introduced this way. Maybe it is and we all forgot. I don't know. I haven't been in elementary school in a long time. But this is our symbol for combining, right? And it equals this. So our symbol for taking away is the idea, well, let's say we're going to change the stuff. Let's say I have this many, and I am going to give you that many. How many do I have left, right? Well, sort of, we kind of take and we match this 1 to 1, okay? And that means that I have that many left. 1, 2, 3, 4, because I gave you those. And again, the symbology, we say this is 6 and 2 and 4, but what did I do? I gave them to you, okay? You didn't give them to me, I gave them to you, thus this is how much I have left. Okay? So it's this constant exchange, and these are the symbols that we use. Now, when you get something like this, apparently I love even numbers and the number 3. We're starting to understand this batching idea, right, that we talked about in our numeration in our base 10. That this is still a single digit, and this one is also, we don't actually are not batching any of these, but we're starting to memorize this idea onto this thing. And it's wildly important that we recognize how to do that and really what's going on. All of math is counting. It's all counting. It's counting and vocab, but it's visual vocab, okay? So our visual vocabulary to this are these symbols. So I had 3, I don't know, chicken nuggets. And I got 5 given more to me of chicken nuggets. And now I've had 8 chicken nuggets. But all we write down is this. Because in the world of mathematics, we're not always wanting to just talk about chicken nuggets. We're looking, as I've been intensely talking about COVID-19, we're looking for patterns. So at a certain point in time, you want to cast off the specifics of stones or goats or pens or cups of coffee and start to bring in the larger scope of the philosophy of what's going on. And that is something that is difficult. And I say this every day to students all the time. There is a reason why people struggle with math. And there's a reason why some people really gravitate toward it. And I firmly believe it's because of the fact that you get that vocabulary foundation. And I'll just state for myself, as a small child, my parents moved us to Tennessee. I didn't understand how to, there was such a twang in the accent. And then my teacher would try to tell me to learn how to read. And she'd tell me, and I was just like, oh, and then I'd go home and my mother would go, and here we are. And just the sounds with the words just freaked me out. And I got really frustrated. And so my mother then bought me math flashcards. She said, just focus on this. And then we were all over the country. It was weird, you know how childhood is. And I would just spend hours in the car wherever we were studying my math flashcards. So by the time I got to 2nd or 3rd grade, I had my times tables memorized to 10, and like nobody else did. So it just gives you a confidence. And then as this great Malcolm Gladwell book talks about outliers, is it really that you're an outlier, or that you had these opportunities? So then once I had those things memorized at a young age, then I got to go into the advanced math classes all the time with the best teachers and the most highly motivated students. So that was the culture I grew up in math. When I was in math class, everybody paid attention. If we were given work time, we helped each other. We would get all of our work done, and then we'd say, how'd you do this one if we couldn't get it? Okay? It wasn't until I became a teacher of more different classes that I was like, why are you not all paying attention? Why are you not all doing your math when I say you can? And it was shocking. I'm not going to lie, it was shocking. I went my entire life to age 25 just assuming every math class was about people paying strict attention, taking great notes, and helping each other. And then I became a teacher and realized that's not true. So I'm right at 10 minutes. That's adding. It's just the idea of adding. And you can find all sorts of resources on what to do, and I'll link something for our lesson about practice, and some other sheets and lists. But you got to remember the symbols. They're super important because the symbology gets more and more and more and more concrete, and more intense. And I'll say even now, just really quickly, and I know I'm almost on time, I still will forget terminology all the time. I mean, it talks about, it's Aleph and all the, there's not a lot of stuff in here that's over my head. But I've done pretty much all mathematics but I'll forget, and then but I'm confident enough to say, oh, I'll go look that up. versus like, I don't get it, right? So that's it. All right. Adding, subtracting. We'll get into it later. More examples to come. Bye.